Alright, what is up metahumans? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. I am the Survival Hermit. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about item transfers into new seasons, how to prioritize those, and some tips and tricks I've found out that might make your transfer between servers a little less stressful. Now we're going to start with how do items transfer from your original server to Eternal Land and then on to your next server. So it's a fairly simple process. It actually happens automatically when you leave your original server. So when you go in here and you're in your phase 6, you're going to get your countdown timers, your ability to sign up for your new server. You're going to sign up for your new server, and then you're going to get this quest line that says transfer items to Eternal Land, and you're going to start freaking out, because you're going to be trying to figure out how to transfer items to Eternal Land because you don't want your server to automatically end and then all of your items disappear. Don't worry, that's not going to happen to you. So what is going to happen is when those countdown timers get to 0, that is going to give you the ability to move to your next season. You do not have to move to your next season for another 27 days. So you have a whole month to sit in your server and gather up materials and complete content and do whatever you want. And when you decide to leave, when you go ahead and move to your next server, all of your items are going to move from your current server to Eternal Land automatically. And if you don't leave, say you stop playing and you forget to leave to a new server, or you just don't want to leave to a new server, your character will stay on their existing server until it closes, and then they will automatically be moved to Eternal Land along with all of your items. Everything will be stored in your space-time backpack. You'll be totally fine. You won't lose anything. So that's how things get transferred from Season 1 to Eternal Land. Now, how do we transfer things from Eternal Land to Season 2? This is also fairly simple, and you can access it without even having to go to your Eternal Land island. All you have to do is access your space-time backpack. So you open up your space-time backpack from your inventory screen right here, and then you're going to see that all of your equipment is in your space-time backpack. Now it's all grayed out here because you can't use it because you're not in Eternal Land, but it's all here. And then all you have to do is left-click this Transfer to Season Backpack button, and now you open up this transfer screen. Now you're going to see over here that I have 4,540 of whatever these points are called out of 20,000. When you start your new server, you're going to be given 20,000 of these material points. This is every time you transfer to a new season, you get brought back up to 20,000. These do not carry over to next season, so you can't hoard them and then get, say, 25,000 next season. It's always going to bring you right back up to 20,000. It's going to reset. So that's very important, so you might as well use them or you'll lose them. Now, a very important tip here is that these points will stay here for your entire season. So you do not have to spend all 20,000 day 1 of going into a new server. You can spend them throughout the entire 6 weeks or more, depending on how long that server is going to last, and take your time and bring things in as you need them. So that's a very, very important tip. And all you have to do in order to bring something over into your new server is you select which item you want out of your space-time backpack, and you come over here and you just right-click it, and bammo, it moves over. Now you'll see there I have 4,540. This is telling me how many more I'm going to have remaining after I move this. So this is not telling me how much it costs. This just took away the 300 points that this costs, and you can see if I can't actually move my cursor to it, but right below where it says livestock in the top left, it says 300. That's how many points it costs. Now, so far, I have not seen all of those numbers to be accurate, but they at least give you an idea. So I can transfer this bear over for just 300 points. So really, really simple. All you do, you right-click it, you hit confirm, bam, it's transferred. It goes into your regular backpack, and you can come right back out into the game, go to your inventory, and it'll be there. Now, I didn't transfer it because I don't need the bear right now, but you get the idea. Now, an important thing, when you transfer items from your Eternal Land backpack to your regular backpack, they become linked to you, right? My rubber and my seeds are linked to me. They cannot be dropped, and they cannot be placed in normal storages. If you wish to get rid of these items, you have to place them in a private storage. So you're going to come over here, you're going to go to facilities, private storage crate. Really, really easy to build, doesn't take much at all. So if you accidentally overweight yourself, drop yourself down a private storage crate, and then go ahead and put your linked items in your private storage crate. No problem, doesn't hurt anything, you're good to go. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about how to prioritize. Whoops, for some reason every time I go into a private storage crate that happens. And then you just scroll over some stuff and it goes away. So now let's talk about how to prioritize what you're bringing with you. The way I prioritized what to bring with me was I looked at pain points. What am I planning to do with my season? And what is going to hold me back from being able to do that? So number one, gathering. Right early on, I knew I was going to want to build a whole lot of crop plots and a whole lot of structure because I have no base. I'm starting all over again. So I was going to need to have access to a lot of resources. So the first thing I did was I brought an advanced electric rock drill with me. You can use this starting in level 1. I think this is a great buy. It does cost 3,000 points, but I think you should bring one anyway. The next thing, I would have brought a chainsaw, but I had some difficulty getting into the game right at server transfer, and I forgot to make one and didn't get to transfer it over. So I'm going to assume that the chainsaw also costs 3,000 points. So that's a grand total of 6,000 of your 20,000 points right there. So I think these are good buys. I think these will really, really save you a lot of pain early game and allow you to get back to building that home and making this server feel like the place that you live as quickly as possible, so you'll want to come back and play some more. Now the next thing that was going to be a pain point for me was going to be these crops. I brought most of these seeds with me from my previous season, and I think that's a really good idea if you plan on farming. Now, if you don't plan on farming, obviously seeds are completely unimportant to you, but that's what I'm talking about. You need to consider what you want to do for your gameplay and then bring things in that are going to alleviate your pain points. Personally, I don't like running around the cities, and I don't like gathering up materials to disassemble. So I brought paper dolls with me, and they're going to gather me up materials, and I'm going to take these materials over to my disassembly bench, and I'm going to have like 10 of these things once I get to where I can have 20 securement units, and they're going to get me all of these materials that I need so that I don't have to worry about running around gathering materials all the time, because that's not fun for me. That's a pain point. I don't want to do it. And so I'm not going to. The other thing that I would consider bringing in is just save a little bit of all your materials. You're going to see a lot of clutter in your space-time backpack. You're going to be tempted to just start selling a lot of your stuff like I did. Don't do that. Early game, you might find that you need a couple of steel ingots, or you need a little bit of a certain kind of plastic that maybe you're not getting because you're not quite to that level yet, right? Maybe you're not up in this region. You're down in this region like I was, and you need a little fireproof plastic so you can make an electric furnace. Well, it took me a really long time to get that fireproof plastic because I wasn't in the right place, but I already had the ability to make the fireproof furnace. So save all of those materials, at least have a stack of everything. So if you need to bring 10 or 20 over, most of them are pretty cheap, right? Most of your materials are looking somewhere between the 5 and 10 material point range, right? You've got, oh, this one doesn't even say how much it is, but let's see. So the acid, you're looking at just 10 points per acid. So if you needed, 10 or 15 acid, you could get it in there. The gold is a little expensive, I think, so you're probably not going to want to bring that gold over. That looks like 50 per gold, so that's a little expensive, but your rawhide is pretty cheap for your first set of gear. Your electronic parts are pretty cheap if you need a couple. These crystals are pretty expensive, but even these might be worth it. Well, at 300 a piece, they're probably not. 250 a piece. But some of these plastics and stuff like that, if you have a bunch of fuses like I do, maybe you bring some fuses over, just tons and tons of utility stuff there. And if you're bringing over 1 or 2 at a time, you're going to be wasting a couple hundred points and really alleviating some pain for yourself. So that's really, really important. Now we've gone over the tips and tricks pretty much as we've talked through this. So I don't really have any more tips and tricks for you, except that there is a potential problem that you will run into that I ran into. And that is when you look in your space-time backpack, you're going to see all of this stuff that you can scroll through. And then when you go to transfer to the season backpack, sometimes it will truncate your inventory. So you don't see everything that was there before, and you're going to think that maybe some of it was deleted or something like that. That's not what happened. It just doesn't necessarily show you more than one screen worth sometimes. So maybe you need to put some stuff in a storage or something like that briefly in your Eternal Land or something so that you can get access to the rest of those items. But don't freak out, the items didn't disappear. You're going to be okay. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is you'll see that my food inventory is super full of fish when you just look at the island inventory. But none of those fish show up. And the reason for that is you see this little symbol down here. This means that this item was made with astral sand or was found in Eternal Land. Right? So I caught this fish in Eternal Land. And I have some other food items that I've crafted in Eternal Land. Let me see if I can find some of those real quick. Here are some things, right? I've crafted these activators in Eternal Land because I PvP in Eternal Land. And I crafted these whim potions in Eternal Land. And so you can't bring these into regular season play. And they have that little symbol, the astral sand symbol right there, so that you know that you can't bring those out into the regular game with you. And that's really all I have about transferring items. It's a pretty simple process once you get the hang of it and you do it a time or two. But it can seem really daunting and confusing when you first get started. So I hope this helped everybody. I want to thank everybody who came by and watched. If you have any questions or concerns, I try to live stream every morning. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a great day.